Captain Ethan Cade squinted at the swirling colors of the dense nebula through the viewfinder of the Aegis. The ship hummed steadily beneath him, a comforting sound amid the chaos of the cosmos. He turned to his co-pilot, Lieutenant Maya Chin, a human with a mind sharp enough to cut glass. "What do you think, Maya? Is it just another dead rock, or are we about to hit the jackpot?" Ethan asked, his excitement barely contained. Maya crossed her arms, her eyes scanning the myriad readings. "The energy signatures are off the charts, Ethan. It's not just radiation, there's something alive here. I can almost feel it." "Let's take a closer look," Ethan decided, his fingers dancing over the control panel. The crew of the Aegis assembled around the holoscreen, their faces illuminated by pulsing lights. Among them was Yara, the ship's navigator, an alien from the planet Thesia with luminescent skin and striking silver eyes. She stood a step apart from the others, intrigue visible on her face. "Yara, any insights?" Ethan called out, unable to resist the magnetic pull of her gaze. "The readings are unlike anything I've ever encountered," she replied, her voice melodic yet serious. "But it feels significant. Caution is advised. Many civilizations have vanished near unknown energies." Ethan leaned back in his chair, contemplating her words. "We didn't come all this way just to play it safe, did we?" Maya smirked. "You're a magnet for trouble, Captain." "Just part of the job," he shot back, a grin spreading across his face. "Prepare for a descent. Let's check this out." As the Aegis cut through the clouds of the nebula, they approached the crystalline structure that had drawn them in. The surface glimmered, emitting a rich blue hue that enveloped the ship in ethereal light. "Touchdown in 3, 2, 1, Maya announced, gripping her console as the ship landed softly on the planet's surface. "All right, team, let's move." "Yara, you're with me?" Ethan instructed, feeling a thrill in his chest. "Aye, Captain," Yara replied, her enthusiasm evident as they stepped onto the alien terrain. The atmosphere felt different, charged, alive. She glanced at Ethan, her curiosity bubbling over. "Do you think the crystal is sentient?" "Could be," he answered, adjusting his pack. "Let's find out." They walked through a field of shimmering crystals, each one radiating energy. A chill ran down Ethan's spine as they approached the central structure, towering high above them like a guard keeping secrets. Yara reached out, her hand brushing against a crystal that hummed in response. "This one feels special." Ethan felt an inexplicable urge to touch it himself. "Step back for a moment, Yara. Let me try." "Be careful, Ethan. We don't know what this could do," she cautioned, a frown adorning her features as she stepped aside. With a deep breath, he placed his palm against the surface of the crystal. Instantly, a surge of energy zipped through him, causing him to stagger back. "Whoa, did you feel that?" Yara's eyes widened. "You connected with it. It's like it's talking to me," Ethan gasped, rubbing his temples to shake off the vertigo. He trailed off, mesmerized. "It's calling me worthy." "What does that mean?" Maya chimed in, now joining them. "Is it trying to manipulate you, or?" "I don't know," Ethan admitted, feeling the weight of everyone's gaze. "But it feels important." Yara moved closer, her voice low. "Do you hear it too? It's as if the crystal wants to share something." "I feel a rush of images," he whispered, closing his eyes. "Alien histories, battles, and peace? It's overwhelming." "Focus, Ethan," Maya interjected, her tone sharp. "You can't let it control you. Sometimes the universe offers knowledge that's far too heavy." Pulling himself together, Ethan opened his eyes. "Let's see what we can learn without losing ourselves." Suddenly, an energy pulse erupted from the crystal, forcing Ethan to stagger backward. He found himself face to face with Yara, their proximity shocking yet exhilarating. "Whoa." He caught her gaze, surprised by the intimacy of the moment. Yara's eyes sparkled, reflecting the crystal's glow. "What now?" she asked, breathless. "Let's keep exploring," Ethan replied, reluctant to break the tension but determined to unravel the mystery ahead. "We need to understand what this means for us and for our people." "Agreed," Maya added, adjusting her scanner. "But let's do it carefully." As they ventured deeper into the crystalline structure, the air grew thicker, pulsating with energy. They passed through archways adorned with intricate carvings, revealing histories of civilizations long gone. Each step resonated as if the ground underfoot acknowledged their presence. Yara marveled at the artwork. "Every symbol tells a story." "It's beautiful, Ethan." "Just like you," Ethan said without thinking, a blush creeping into his cheeks. He quickly regained his composure. I mean the artwork. It's incredible." Yara smiled, her expression softer. "Thank you. But you know that truth is subjective, right?" True, Ethan agreed, heart racing at her gaze. But I meant it. Maybe that's one of the things this crystal will teach us, she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. They reached a vast chamber illuminated by the crystal's glow, the walls shimmering with lights. In the center stood a massive crystalline structure, far larger than the others, pulsating rhythmically. Whatever this is, it needs to be approached with caution, Maya said, eyeing the structure warily. Ethan nodded, feeling a mixture of fear and excitement. We should touch it together. Yara looked hesitant. Are you sure that's wise? Together, he emphasized. If it has the potential to connect with me, maybe it will listen to both of us. All right, she agreed, positioning herself next to him. On 3. Let's do it. 3, 2, 1. As their hands met the surface, an explosion of energy enveloped them, and Ethan felt colors flood his mind, visions of countless worlds and wisdom washing over him. Amidst the onslaught, he could hear the words, worthy. His heart raced, a sense of responsibility settling over him. Ethan! Yara exclaimed, shooting him a worried glance. What's happening? I don't know, he replied, overwhelmed yet exhilarated. But I can't pull away. Yara's hand tightened around his. I won't let go. The chamber pulsed brightly, harmonizing with their heartbeats. In that moment, they belonged to something greater, two souls intertwined within an ancient call. As the energy subsided, Ethan finally pulled back. The aura faded, but the connection lingered, deepening the bond between them. What did we just tap into? I think, Yara whispered, awe in her eyes, we've just taken the first step towards something extraordinary. Chapter 2, Echoes of the Past. After the shocking encounter with the crystal, the Aegis was abuzz with excitement. A mixture of uncertainty and exhilaration hung in the air. The crew gathered in the common room to discuss the implications of what they had experienced. Ethan leaned against a console, still feeling the crystal's energy coursing through him. Maya was the first to break the silence, her brow furrowed. So, what exactly did you two connect with? We all felt that surge. Yara, sitting next to Ethan, glanced at him, her eyes filled with a mix of curiosity and concern. It felt like a flood of information, but it's fragmented. I'm not sure how to interpret it all. What I felt was overwhelming, Ethan admitted, running a hand through his hair. It was like standing on the edge of a vast ocean of knowledge. I remember glimpses of civilizations, philosophies. Do you think it was a warning? Maya interjected, her tone serious. Another race may have faced something terrible and the crystal is passing that message along. Or it could be something entirely different, Yara offered. Perhaps it's a source of wisdom, not just danger. But we need to analyze everything we felt. Then let's do just that, Ethan said, standing straighter. We have the data from the crystal, right? We can run a full diagnostic on it. Maya nodded. I'll get to work on correlating your experiences with the ship's systems. But first, we need to know what this knowledge means for our mission. Ethan smiled at Yara. We've unlocked a door, what lays beyond it might redefine us. Yara's expression softened. You might be right, Ethan. But sometimes change comes with challenges. Then let's face those challenges, he replied. Together. After gathering their equipment, Ethan and Maya moved to the engineering bay while Yara prepared a data relay. The room was filled with a soft glow from screens that crunched numbers and analyzed energy signatures. All right, what did you see? Maya asked, tapping away at her console. It might help us understand what we're working with. Ethan took a deep breath. There were images, battlefields, but not just physical ones, emotional ones. There was a sense of unity among different species, moments where they overcame their differences to achieve something great. Maya glanced up, intrigued. That's beautiful, but which species? Did you recognize any symbols? Some looked familiar, but others were completely foreign, he replied, frustrated at the limits of his memory. It's like trying to grasp smoke. Yara, any luck with your data scrubbing? Maya called over. Almost there. I'm pulling every bit of knowledge we can glean. Good. We need to see if there's any pattern to this. Ethan's gaze drifted. What if the crystal chose us for a reason? If it shows us the past, maybe it's hinting at a future we haven't considered. Or a warning, Maya reminded, focused on the console. If it is a warning, we need to prepare. If there are conflicts ahead, we must understand how to navigate through them Without losing ourselves, Yara finished, her fingertips glowing as she manipulated the data streams. As they worked, Ethan couldn't shake the feeling of urgency. He had a distinct need to learn more about the crystal, and it gnawed at him. The more we discover, the more responsibility we have. We can't just ignore what we now hold. Maya chuckled softly. You sound like a space philosopher. Well, it wouldn't be uncharacteristic for us, he smiled, glancing at Yara. Philosophy aside, this discovery could rewrite our perceptions of the universe. Rolling her eyes playfully, Maya said, let's focus on the tangible before we go cosmic. Yara, can you send us the visuals you deciphered? Yara nodded, her brow furrowing slightly. Yes, let me compile everything into a single format. I think this will help. As Yara worked, Ethan stole glances at her, admiring her focus. The air between them buzzed with an undercurrent of connection that was hard to ignore. You're incredible, he said, his voice softening. Just doing my job, she replied, not looking up, though a smile danced at the corners of her mouth. No, really, you bring a unique perspective to our crew. It's refreshing. At last, she turned to face him. Thank you, Ethan. I appreciate that. Just then, Maya interrupted them. Hey, can we save the love fest for later? We're trying to solve a cosmic mystery here. Ethan chuckled, feeling the tension lift momentarily. All right, back to business. But can I just say, Yara began, her voice steady. You have a remarkable way of seeing the world and people, Ethan. It's inspiring. Ethan felt a warmth spread through him. I'd say the same about you. Let's keep that energy focused, Maya said, swinging back to her console. Got it. I've patched in Yara's data and am generating a comprehensive report. The screens flickered, revealing a timeline of interspecies interactions that dated back thousands of years. A web of connections between different races flowed like a river. Whoa, Ethan murmured, studying the information. This shows how alliances were formed, where conflicts arose, and the root causes of these struggles. See these patterns? Maya pointed. They're not entirely unlike what's happening among some races today. Ignorance breeds hostility. If only more knew this, Yara sighed. Maybe we're destined to be part of a new era. Absolutely, Ethan said, sparking with newfound determination. What if we used this knowledge to create understanding? That's a lofty goal, Captain, Maya cautioned. But if anyone can do it, it's us. I'm all in, Yara declared, her gaze intense. But how do we start? Ethan smiled, feeling a rush of excitement. We gather information from each species we encounter. We educate ourselves and others. We become ambassadors of this knowledge. The crew rallied around the plan, each member feeling a sense of purpose. Maya glanced at the digital timeline before her. If we start tracking events and building relationships, we can create diplomacy where there was none before. It's going to take time and effort, Yara warned. But if we work together, it's possible. Then let's make it happen, Ethan said, his voice resolute. We'll reach beyond our differences and embrace understanding. We have the power to change the narrative. Just then, the ship's comm system crackled to life. Captain Cade, this is Engineer Larson. We have a situation in the reactor core. Ethan's heart dropped at the urgency in Larson's voice. We're on our way. Let's move, Maya exclaimed. As they rushed out of the engineering bay, Ethan felt the weight of their new mission and understanding of the past and a future waiting to be seized. One thing was for sure, they were no longer just explorers, they were emerging leaders ready to take on whatever the universe had in store. What's the plan? Yara asked, matching his stride as they moved quickly to the reactor core. First, we stabilize the reactor. Then we figure out how our newfound knowledge can guide us through the challenges we're about to face, Ethan replied. With their spirits high and their minds set, they headed into uncertain territory, fueled by a shared sense of purpose. No matter what lay ahead, they would tackle it together. Chapter 3, A Bond Beyond Worlds. The reactor core was in disarray, alarms blaring and red warning lights flashing. Ethan, Yara, and Maya entered the room with urgency, eyes scanning the chaos. Engineer Larson stood at the control panel, his face pale, sweat trickling down his brow. What's going on? Ethan demanded, rushing to his side. Power fluctuations in the core, Larson replied, typing furiously on his console. If we don't stabilize it soon, we could lose the ship. Yara, any insights? Ethan turned to her, knowing her background in Thessian technology could offer a new perspective in crisis. She stepped closer to the console, her brow furrowing as she studied the readings. The energy output is fluctuating due to an overload. If we reroute the power from Sector 7, we can stabilize the reactor. Do it, Ethan instructed. Maya, help her. I'll keep an eye on the core to make sure it doesn't breach. Got it, Maya replied, rushing to the backup control panel beside Yara. As the women worked, Ethan watched the core's fluctuations. The hum filled the room, a low, threatening sound that sent chills down his spine. How long do we have? Minutes, maybe? Larson grunted, beads of sweat collecting on his forehead. Hurry! Yara's hands danced over the controls, her concentration palpable. Just give me a sec. There. I'm rerouting now. The energy readings began to stabilize, but not without a few flickering lights. Come on, Ethan whispered, tension mounting in the air. Almost there, Yara replied, her voice steady. Just a few more adjustments. Suddenly, the room shook as a surge of energy surged through the reactor. Alarms blared louder, and Ethan's heart raced. What was that? Nothing we can't handle. Maya shouted over the noise, clearly resolved. Yara, focus. Ethan called, fear creeping into his voice. We need that stabilization now. She took a deep breath, holding steady as her fingers glided over the panel. I have a plan. I can vent some of the excess power to reduce pressure. Just keep an eye out for any sudden changes. Do it. Ethan felt the pressure weighing on his shoulders, but he knew they had no choice. Yara initiated the venting sequence and, almost immediately, the lights flickered as the core stabilized somewhat. It's working. But we need to keep this going. More power rerouted. Maya exclaimed, her tone sharper now. Come on, let's fix this. As they worked in concert, the alarms grew quieter, the energy pulses in the core shifting to a more stable rhythm. Ethan felt a surge of relief but quickly caught himself. Keeping his focus was key. We're almost there, Yara said, her voice regaining a note of confidence. Just a little more. You've got this. Ethan encouraged her, feeling a strange warmth pulse in his chest, a connection that ties their fates together. Finally, with a last push, Yara pressed a button and the alarms ceased. The reactor, now stable, glowed softly rather than pulsating erratically. We did it! Maya exclaimed, throwing her hands up in triumph. Great job, everyone, Ethan said, relief flooding his voice. He turned to Yara, who was catching her breath. You were amazing. Thanks, Yara replied, a shy smile gracing her lips. But I couldn't have done it without you both. Ethan felt the warmth of her gaze linger, and for a moment, the chaos of the reactor room faded into the background. But reality pulled him back. We need to review the ship's systems. There could be residual issues. Agreed. Larson, can you run a full systems check? Maya asked, wiping sweat from her brow. On it, Larson replied, fingers flying over the console once again. As they began assessing the rest of the ship, Ethan turned to Yara. You really held your own back there. You knew exactly what to do. I've been trained for crisis situations like this, especially with the technology on my home planet, she said modestly, her excitement evident. But you kept everyone focused. That helped? Couldn't have done it without you, Ethan insisted, his admiration for her growing. Your knowledge made all the difference. Thanks, she said again, her cheeks slightly flushed. It's nice to be appreciated. Maya returned from checking another console. What's next? Do we return to examining the crystal data, or do we stay on reactor duty? Ethan are the back of his neck considering. How about we revisit the crystal but do so carefully? We have a lot to unpack there, and we might need what we've learned in that crisis. Sounds good, Yara agreed. We may have unlocked something that can help us navigate future challenges. Right, so let's see how we can apply that, Maya added, leading the way back to the common area. As they settled in, Ethan felt a bond forming, not just between the three of them as crewmates, but deeper connections with Yara. The experiences they shared and the challenges they faced were weaving ties that felt unbreakable. As they sat around the holographic display, Maya pulled up their initial findings from the crystal. Okay, let's get back on track. What do you two remember most vividly? I keep coming back to the emotions of those civilizations, Ethan said. The sense of unity, people coming together to solve tea. Ethan looked at Yara, feeling their connection deepen. So, how do we do this? I think we start small, Yara suggested. Outreach. Talk to other ships. Learn from our neighbors. Maya nodded. We can establish strong communication protocols. If we lay out our goals clearly, we could find allies. I can help design the outreach plan, Yara offered. Her excitement was contagious. Ethan met her gaze, inspired by her passion. Let's divide up the tasks. Yara, you focus on creating content for outreach. Maya, you draft our communication strategies. I'll lead the engagement. Sounds like a plan, they all agreed, excitement bubbling in the room. As they worked together, laughter and chatter echoed. The energy shifted, filled with something electric, a sense of shared purpose. Each task built upon the other, their distinct talents harmonizing. Hey, what about an interspecies cultural exchange? We could learn and share as we go. Maya suggested, her eyes brightening with the thought. Yara clapped her hands. I love that. It would illustrate our commitment to foster unity. Let's get to work, then, Ethan said. He could feel their enthusiasm grow. As they collaborated into the night, stronger and closer as a unit, Ethan realized that each challenge brought them not just knowledge but a deeper understanding of one another. He felt something profound between him and Yara, and he couldn't shake the realization that this journey was about more than discovery, it was about connection. By the way, he said as they took a break, you're really incredible at this. Yara looked up surprised. Thank you, Ethan. That means a lot coming from you. I'm serious. Your skills are extraordinary, and I'm grateful to have you on my team. A warm smile spread on Yara's face. I'm grateful to be here wherever this journey may lead us. Ethan felt his heart race, and in that moment, the universe opened up before them. They weren't just a crew. They were companions ready to embrace whatever challenges awaited them. Together. Chapter 4. The Trials of Worthiness. The shimmering expanse of space stretched before the Aegis as Ethan, Yara, and Maya prepared for their next steps. Excitement tinged the air as the crew gathered in the common area, discussing their plans for outreach and discovery. Ethan leaned against the console, looking over the crew gathered around. All right, everyone, we've survived a reactor crisis, and now it's time to take the next step in our journey. We've made some connections, but it's time to reach out beyond ourselves. Maya was already buzzing with ideas. I think we should focus on a few nearby systems. If we identify races or ships that have had similar experiences or share our goals, we could collaborate on our outreach. Agreed. Yara chimed in, her enthusiasm infectious. I've been analyzing the data from the crystal. A few civilizations show potential for peaceful engagement. They've encountered dilemmas similar to ours. Ethan felt a connection with Yara, but he pushed it aside for now. Let's make a list of those civilizations. We should prioritize sending them a communication outlining our intentions. All right, I can prepare some drafts, Maya said, already pulling up her console. We'll want something impactful yet clear. Too formal and we might seem threatening. Exactly, Yara said, her fingers dancing over her own console to pull up additional data. Engagement is about building trust. Let's highlight the emotional connections we found in the crystal's data. The crew rallied around the shared goal, their spirits buoyed by the collaboration. As they worked, Kevin, their ship's engineer, entered the room, wiping his hands on a rag. Hey, what are you guys plotting? Kevin asked, looking curious. We're planning our outreach to neighboring civilizations, Ethan replied, gesturing for Kevin to join them. We could use your technical input. Sure thing. I've been updating our communication systems to make sure we can transmit clearly without any distortion. Good timing, Maya said. We need to ensure our messages come across right. If we're trying to build relationships, even a small error could lead to misunderstanding. Kevin nodded. I'll make sure to optimize the system. Just let me know when you're ready. With Kevin on board, they began brainstorming. Ethan pulled out a digital notepad while everyone threw in their ideas, locations, civilizations, and potential shared experiences. Okay, what about the Varnaks, suggested Maya, recalling a race known for its advancements in diplomacy. They have strong ties with numerous species. If we can get their support, that could open doors, Yara agreed. Their influence might ease initial interactions. Great idea, Ethan replied, jotting down notes. Let's schedule an initial diplomatic message to them and maybe a follow-up to other systems as well. As the conversation flowed, Ethan observed how seamlessly they worked as a team. Ideas bounced back and forth, and the shared energy created an atmosphere of excitement and anticipation. Just then, Yara looked thoughtful. Do you think they might have trials or tests for us? She asked, lifting an eyebrow. Many civilizations consider worthiness important for alliances. Maya frowned slightly. That's true. We should be prepared for anything when establishing connections. We might need to prove ourselves in some way. Let's not forget our previous experience with the crystal, Kevin chimed in. We've already shown we can handle pressure, but trials can be unpredictable. Ethan straightened, nodding. If we face any challenges, we'll tackle them together. Trust is built through collaboration. Yara met his gaze, a flicker of understanding passing between them. She smiled softly, and Ethan felt his heart race. But he quickly shifted his focus back to their task. All right, let's approach this methodically, Ethan said, pulling everyone's attention back. We'll prepare our communication. Once we receive responses, we'll address any challenges they present us. With a united front, Maya added, playfully nudging Ethan. Because, after all, together we can handle anything. A few days later, the Aegis sat in a quiet region of space ready for their first outreach. The crew gathered again, tension and excitement mingling in the air. Ethan stood at the helm, overseeing the communications console. "Are we ready?" he asked, glancing around at his teammates. "Absolutely," Maya said with a grin. "I prequate our messages to the Varnax and other nearby civilizations." Kevin adjusted some knobs on the control panel. "Channels are open. Just say the word and we're good to go." "Yara, want to take lead on the first communication?" Ethan offered. "Me," she said, surprise coloring her voice. "Of course. Your insights give us the best chance to make a great first impression," Ethan encouraged. Yara took a deep breath and nodded. "Okay, let's do this." Ethan stepped back as she approached the console, focusing on the view screen. "This is Captain Yara of the Aegis. We come in peace, seeking to establish connections with your civilization for mutual growth and understanding." As she spoke, Ethan felt a sense of pride. Her voice was steady, exuding a confidence that resonated well. "Together, we can learn from one another and explore our shared histories. If you are open to it, we would greatly appreciate your response," Yara concluded, a smile widening on her face. The communication ended, and the room filled with silence, each member holding their breath. "Hope that goes well," Kevin said, breaking the tension. Ethan nodded, feeling a nervous excitement. "Let's watch for responses." As they waited, discussion shifted to the potential outcomes. "Do you think they'll reply quickly?" Maya asked. "Depends on their protocols," Yara said. "Some civilizations take time to deliberate on such messages." "I can't believe we're really doing this," Ethan said, his heart racing. "It feels monumental." "Exactly," Maya replied. "But remember, this could lead to significant challenges, anything from tests to negotiations. We need to be prepared." It wasn't long before a response pinged on the console. Maya quickly brought it up on the view screen, and there it was, multiple colors and symbols swirling together, forming the message's shape. "Looks complex," Kevin said, squinting at the screen. "Let's break it down," Yara suggested, leaning closer as they analyzed the response. Together, they translated the symbols, piecing together the meaning. "Okay, they've acknowledged us," Maya reported. "But they're asking us to demonstrate our worthiness through trials of knowledge and trust." "Knowledge?" Ethan echoed, feeling a thrill of determination. "We can do that. We've got all the intel from the crystal." "And trust," Yara said thoughtfully. "That could mean we'll need to bond with them in some way, show that we're aligned in our intentions." "Then let's prepare ourselves," Ethan proposed, his voice steady. "We'll compile everything we know about their culture so we can make informed decisions." The team dove back into action, pulling up information about the Varnax civilization. As they worked, Ethan couldn't shake the thought of the connection he shared with Yara. It deepened with every meaningful interaction, and while the mission took precedence, he couldn't help stealing glances at her. As they discussed strategies, Ethan finally spoke up. "The knowledge we have will serve us well, but building a bridge based on our experiences as a crew could make all the difference." Yara turned to him, her expression encouraging. "That's spot on. We've faced fears and challenges. Those stories will illustrate our journey and strengthen our bond." Maya waggled her eyebrows. "We're in this together, so we share the stories, good and bad. Nothing brings people closer than trials. Think of it as bonding through adversity." "Exactly. We'll present our journey as a united front." Ethan agreed, feeling invigorated by the idea. "Let's create a narrative that showcases our growth as a team." "Teamwork makes the dream work," Kevin chimed in, throwing up his hands in mock enthusiasm, causing everyone to laugh. As laughter filled the air, Ethan felt a profound resolve wash over him. They would do this together. No matter the trials ahead, he knew they would face them with unity and determination. The mission was about more than knowledge. It was about building a shared future, one filled with trust, growth, and connection. "Let's fast-track our preparations," Maya said, refocusing the group. "Every detail matters." With renewed energy, they dove into crafting their narrative, pooling their experiences and insights. Through every challenge they faced, they had each other to lean on, and with that bond, Ethan felt they could face whatever awaited them. Together. Chapter 5. A New Beginning. The Aegis drifted peacefully through the quiet expanse of space, the soft hum of the engines a comforting presence. The crew had spent the past few days finalizing their outreach strategy, and now the atmosphere buzzed with anticipation. Ethan stood at the helm, glancing over the shimmering stars outside. He felt a sense of purpose coursing through him, but he was also aware of the weight of the mission ahead. Turning to his team, he said, "All right, everyone. Today may be the day we establish our first real connection. Are we prepared?" "Absolutely," Maya replied, adjusting her glasses with a determined nod. "We've got our story reviews polished and the data we compiled is solid." Yara, seated at the console, looked up with a bright smile. "And I've rehearsed how we'll introduce ourselves." Those initial moments are crucial. Kevin strolled in holding a coffee mug that read Space Cowboys. "Don't forget to include a bit of flair. Nothing too stiff." Ethan chuckled, appreciating Kevin's lightheartedness. "Flair, yes, but let's not go overboard. We need to make a good impression." Maya cleared her throat, putting on a mock-serious face. "We are a team of capable explorers. We faced danger, dealt with crises, and survived reactor blowouts. We're practically legends in the making." "Legends?" "More like caffeine-fueled cargo haulers," Kevin shot back playfully, taking a seat at the table with a grin. "As long as we're good at hauling information and alliances, I'd say we're doing just fine," Ethan said, feeling the camaraderie weave a warm thread through the room. "Speaking of hauling," Maya interjected, "let's review our plans. We've sent our introduction messages to the Varnax and other civilizations. The Varnax are expected to respond soon. Let's draft some backup responses for when they do," Ethan suggested. "We want to be ready for anything." Yara nodded. "I can help with that. Why don't we categorize potential responses based on the types of interactions we anticipate?" Kevin raised an eyebrow. "Like friendly, neutral, or hostile?" "Exactly," Yara said, her excitement evident. "If we can anticipate their tone, we can react appropriately. When the Varnax respond, we'll be prepared." "Smart thinking," Ethan said, impressed. "Let's make sure our messaging remains adaptable regardless of how they choose to engage." Just then, the console beeped, signaling an incoming message. Maya's eyes widened with surprise and excitement. "It's from the Varnax. Let's see it," Ethan urged, stepping toward the screen. Maya pulled up the transmission. It was a mosaic of vibrant colors and flowing symbols, a typical Varnax communication that appeared both fascinating and intricate. "They're responding to our outreach," Yara said, her expression a mix of awe and focus as they began the translation process. As they worked together, Ethan felt charged by the collaborative energy in the room. "It seems rather formal. They're acknowledging our message and expressing cautious curiosity about our intentions." "Cautious is good," Maya said. "It means they are willing to engage, but they need reassurance." "Would they be satisfied with what we've prepared?" Kevin asked, glancing at Yara. "Let's enhance our narrative with more about our experiences," Yara suggested. "We can highlight the trials we faced together as a crew that shows our commitment." "Right," Ethan said, excited to expand on their story. "We'll frame it as a journey of discovery and collaboration." As they worked, Ethan couldn't help but admire how seamlessly they flowed as a unit. Ideas bounced joyfully among them and their laughter echoed throughout the bridge. But as they were deep in discussion, Kevin raised a concern. "What about the tests they mentioned in their response? We should prepare for that angle." "Tests?" Maya echoed, an edge of worry creeping into her voice. "What do they entail?" "They'll likely want us to demonstrate our knowledge and abilities," Kevin said, his face serious. "We should discuss potential scenarios we might face." "All right, let's list possible trials," Yara said, her tone shifting to focused determination. "We'll want to cover knowledge tests, physical challenges, even negotiations with ambiguity." "Negotiations?" Ethan raised an eyebrow. "Like what?" "Well," Yara replied, "there might be situations where we have to convince them about our objectives or our ability to work collaboratively. They might test our decision-making under pressure." "That makes sense," Maya nodded, crossing her arms. "They want to assess our values." Ethan felt the weight of their discussion settle in the pit of his stomach. "We've faced hard times before. We can do this." Maya tilted her head, a calculating look crossing her face. "What about the knowledge side of things?" "We can quiz each other on various subjects related to interspecies diplomacy, culture, and technology." "Good idea," Kevin agreed. "Let's run some drills." "Yara, you lead. We'll respond with our best guesses." Yara grinned brightly. "All right. So in Varnax culture, what is the primary value that their society is built upon? Is it A, knowledge, B, cooperation, or C, individualism?" "Cooperation," Maya answered confidently. "Correct. The Varnax cherish collaboration over competition." "Next question, what is their oldest documented alliance?" Yara continued. Ethan joined in, feeling the team spirit. That would be with the Zarth race, right? It's a well-known fact among intergalactic histories. And just like that, we're prepared, Yara said with a laugh. Amazing teamwork. Feeling the energy shift as their drills continued, Ethan realized how effectively their bonds were forming, perhaps even evolving. They had more than friendship, they were a collective force. Hours later, they had polished their responses and built a framework for how to navigate potential tests. As they wrapped up, Ethan looked around at his crew, pride swelling within him. Guys, no matter what happens, I want you to know how exceptional you all are, he said sincerely. We've come a long way together. Can't argue with that, Maya said, a warm smile crossing her face. Cheers to teamwork, Kevin added, raising his coffee mug in a toast. As they shared a light laugh, Yara turned to Ethan. No matter what awaits us, we'll face it as a unified front, right? Absolutely, Ethan agreed, feeling a weight lift from him. With each challenge, we'll learn and grow stronger together. Just then, the console beeped again, pulling their attention back. Another transmission from the Varnax flickered onto the screen, looking even more colorful than before. Looks like they're elaborating, Maya said, pulling up the initial messages. Ethan squinted closely at the screen. They're requesting a meeting to discuss the next steps in person. They'll transmit their location coordinates. Already making progress, Kevin exclaimed, enthusiasm shining in his eyes. Yara grinned, her excitement bubbling over. This is our chance. Next steps, indeed, Ethan said, focusing closely on the coordinates provided. Set a course for the Varnax home system. Within moments, the ship was moving, gliding smoothly toward their destination. As they prepared for the next phase of their journey, Ethan knew that this meeting would define their future. The mission's weight felt present, yet he was buoyed by the strength of his team. They were more than explorers, they were a family. Whatever tests awaited them, they would face them together. As the stars whizzed by outside, Ethan hoped that what lay ahead would be not just a new beginning, but a celebration of unity, one that embraced the journey they had taken and the bonds they had formed.